I can already tell that this is going to be arduous, to put it lightly. Greetings and felicitations, assorted children of the internet. I am the Logician, the rantsona that your reality forgot. And, we're doing this, I guess. Now, those of you who have known me long enough will know that I consider myself to be nothing if not a man of logic and reason. At least that is what I aspire to, despite the company I keep. But I digress. I do my damnedest to uphold the tenets of the scientific method and logical thinking. So when a game comes around, whether it be recommended to me or simply falling into my lap, as most things tend to do these days, I have to stop and wonder why. Why am I faced with the decision now to see things from this particular perspective? And the answer is, honestly, if we were all to stay in our respective lanes, both academically and philosophically, none of us would grow as people. The only way we can grow is to learn from other perspectives, and so, begrudgingly, tonight I will be playing a game known simply as Chaos from Above. Now, having simply playtested this for a few brief seconds to just make sure it works for stream, I've gotten a bit of a picture as to the quality therein. But then again, a picture speaks 1,000 words, so I suppose to give all of you a taste as to what it is we're going to be diving headfirst into. Let me just pull up the opening cutscene for this game that plays before you even reach the main menu, as it were. Once upon a time, Azathoth was looking for a mortal to do his bidding. There's not supposed to be sound, by the way. Go, young one, cause chaos and bring an end to this world. And that's literally it. That's the cutscene that plays. And then, after that, you are faced with the splendor that is the actual starting screen. By the way, if you can hear a lawnmower in the background, that's my PC trying to run this thing. And as you can already tell, it is having an adverse effect on my PNGs struggling to keep up. Is this something I sent you? Yes, this is from the selection you sent me oh so very, very long ago, Koche. So, right out the gate, yep, we're... Oh! Boy howdy. These are controls. They are, in fact, controls. Now, let's take a look at the controls, shall we? Now, for the most part, they're fairly straightforward. You have WASD to move around, left shift to boost. You know, I've played a few Sonic games in my day. I'm familiar with the boost mechanics. We have jump and flying, space while flying to drop back down. Left click to, and I quote, drop a deuce. And right click to aim in. Aim in what? Yes, I am so sorry to expose your pizza to this avant-garde, well, anomaly, as it were. But yes, I digress. Let us commence forth with the dropping of deuces, as it were. Okay. You know? By the way, I looked it up because I was just that morbidly curious. Excellent placement of the flags, by the way. Azathoth is actually a central figure in the overall lore of Lovecraftian works. As a matter of fact, Azathoth is said to be essentially the greatest, most powerful creator god in the pantheon of, as one Matt McMuscles would call, the old and deep fuckers. And I suppose if there were ever an animal through which Azathoth would operate, it would in fact be the rats of the skies. But even to elaborate a bit further... Oh god. And now we're facing some of the mechanics I faced in Spyro. But yes, to elaborate a little further, I am not overly fond of birds, because most birds seem to be not so overly fond of me. This comes down to a few, well, not even a few, just a handful of, oh god, those are the most textures that ever textured in a videos game. But yeah, a few key impressionable moments throughout my life. One being when I was a young boy on a beach, when I was living in the coastal areas of California, and I was playing with a little plastic Pokeball on a beach, and it got washed away into a certain portion of the beach, so I went to go after it. And right there, standing there, was a wild goose, who was just locking eyes with me. And so I stopped dead in my tracks. I took one step back, away from the toy and away from the goose. The goose, in turn, took one step forward. I took a second step back, the goose took a second step forward. One more step back, the goose spreads its wings, swoops in my direction, and starts honking its head off, at which point I start screaming bloody murder and running to my parents. Now, that in and of itself would be one of those, you know, one-off moments where you can't really blame birds in general, or even geese in general. Okay. Oh, is that a collectible I need to get? Oh, I guess. But yeah, fast forward at least like 5 or so years later, the exact same thing happens to my sibling on the same beach, like same time of year. In fact, I'm not ready to admit that it was not the same fucking goose that came after my sibling the way it came after me. Now, that might be enough to put people off of interacting with birds. Fast forward to around, I want to say maybe 2011, 2015? No, probably more like 2011. So, I was taking a trip to New York State to visit some family. And so we said, hey, why don't we take a day trip to New York City? And so we get over there, and one of our stops, of course, has to be the Empire State Building. And so we get up to the 87th floor of the Empire State Building, which, for the uninitiated, I believe is the observation deck, where, you know, all the tourists go to, like, take pictures, put, you know, money in the little machine, like, where you can, like, to get a better view of the city, all that. I get my camera out. I start taking photos. I take, you know, pictures, all that jazz. And I notice this pigeon just standing there. And it's perched on the sort of curved, sharp fence that they have along the, I don't think you'd call it the balcony, but basically the area where, like, the safety railing. You know, it's perched up there on the safety railing to make sure, like, okay, like, no people are gonna actually jump off and commit sewer slide. You know? So I decide, this will make good stock footage. So I start taking video of this pigeon perched there. And I zoom in, and I just say the word, pigeon. I learned an invaluable lesson in that moment, and that lesson was that pigeons do not like to be addressed by name. At least not New York pigeons, because the moment I said pigeon, this bird wrenched its neck in my direction, spread its wings, swooped down, and at full fucking speed, with its full fucking strength, body slammed the top of my fucking head and knocked me on my ass. And this started a panic among all the other tourists, because, you know, notable tourist destination, someone falling to the ground in New York City post 9/11, that's gonna cause some concern. And so I had to be the one sitting down, red in the face, to tell everyone on that floor, that I had just been bodied by a pigeon. Now that would be humiliating enough. Fast forward a few years later in Seattle. I'm visiting some mutuals at the time, and we're making our way across the marketplace in Seattle. Just having a good time, you know, taking a look at all the fresh produce and local goods and foods and all that. We're having fun. And I look forward as we're walking through the marketplace, and the crowd parts just enough, almost like a scene from a movie, just enough for me to see what else? A fucking pigeon standing there in the middle of the sidewalk in the marketplace, eyes locked directly with mine. I take one step back. This pigeon takes one step forward. I take another step back. The pigeon spreads its wings, starts gunning it in my direction, and just barely manages to miss the top of my head. So this mother either followed me from fucking New York City to get his revenge, or else called up one of his fucking buddies on the West Coast going, listen, we gotta teach this guy a lesson he'll never forget. What perfect fucking timing. Okay. Well, I guess that was chaos from above. Now, I had a feeling this might happen. So, in the event that this game ended up being very, very short, I actually prepared a backup. So, now we're going to be playing Infinite Monkeys. This was a game that was actually recommended to me by Cochet as well. When I tried downloading it, all it gave me was the background music for the game. So we're going to have to play it in the browser. Keep falling for it, you fool. You absolute buffoon. So, to my understanding, this game that we're now going to be playing is somewhat of a play on the old adage of what happens when you stick an infinite number of monkeys in a room with typewriters. Now, as the game says here, the goal is to write the entire first scene of the first act of Shakespeare's King Lear, one random letter at a time. Monkeys will type letters at random until one hits the correct one, and each completed letter gets you $1. Guess what? Chicken butt? My word. Yeah, I'll be honest, I only put it on there because it was a pigeon. Yeah, no, I did see that before, Tomato Potato. And my condolences to your grandmother's car. But yes, I am not overly fond of birds because of those specific experiences. Birds be like that. They really are. I mean, the dinosaurs have never truly forgiven us for overtaking their empire. My fucking word. But yeah, no, birds are bastards. And this game did not help my opinion thereof. I love bird, they're so fun and free. You're just twisting the knife right now, aren't you, Carrie? I love bird because of bastard. Yeah, that absolutely tracks, Koshe. Anyway, with that particular brief and unstable chapter behind us, let's get into some sort of semblance of structure yet again. However brief it may be. Oh. Is this not... Oh, do I need to wait until it gets the right one? An idle game. What does that mean? What do you mean an idle game? You wait until you get $1. So is there like no input for the game? Yeah, no, I did get that, Augustus. Yeah, you've joined us for enough streams by now that I recognize you. But yeah, no, the question stands, Koshe. Like, what is Racham Shakespeare? Toggle music to effects. It is in fact the question, is it not? Shop Shakespeare. Yeah, there seems to be very little actual... Oh. Monkey. I am very confused. Well, because, like, I normally expect video games to have some kind of input. Koshe. Yeah, is idle game like a genre that I'm just unfamiliar with? Oh. It's upgrades game. You gotta buy those posters and banana trees. Oh. Well, I mean, if nothing else, this makes for good background music. And I suppose this can lean into, like, just general background noise for, well, actually, even just, see if I cannot. Can I not zoom in on this? It does not appear as though I can. Damn. The whole thing about infinite monkeys is that if you let them at it forever, they will eventually... Oh, yeah, but I assume that there at least requires some input on my end. Oh, we're making more progress now. I buy monkey. Oh, it's just the one music. Okay. Funky Monkey Beat. Oh yeah, somewhere I am sure that Hun Xuan is tapping his gross-ass feet to this beat without even understanding why. Yes. Also, as Koshé said, Augustus. So let's try not to do too terribly much like self-promotion without permission. It's all good, and it's, again, it's not even a warning or anything, just like something to keep in mind going forward. I suppose this actually does make for an interesting contrast to the controlled chaos that we had with the previous game, going into a much slower paced and longer lengthed randomized order. I mean, there's also something to be said about the actual, like, creative process and what an apt, I suppose, analog this is. Which actually reminds me, so earlier today, a very good friend of mine, Nezumi VA, released a new video on the animated series as well as the video game series, technically, Ena, or Ina, depending on how you pronounce it, for which I contributed some choice opinions of my own in the latter part of the video. And, there are admittedly a number of factors going into Ena and the interpretations thereof that I had not entirely taken into consideration before Marcy brought me on for that video. Because, well, as a cis straight man, there's only so much of the human experience that I can truly come to understand from my own experiences. And so, hearing other people's, like, opinions, like, from a trans woman to a bigender person who is another person brought on for that video, it does very much sort of broaden my own sort of conceptual tunnel vision when it comes to the symbolism implemented in that series. I say this partially just to advertise my friend's video, because Marcy has honestly become my standard for video essays, but also I bring it up because, once again, oftentimes multiple avenues through which to interpret art can lead to vastly different future interpretations going forward. Like, again, not to put too terribly much thought into this monkey idol game, but each of these monkeys typing out one random letter at a time could have a vastly different interpretation of the final product that comes from their efforts. And it also sort of raises the question as to what interpretation of a work of fiction can be considered the correct one Whether it's from the original creator or the people who, I suppose, take in that story. Like, who does Star Wars truly belong to? Star Wars fans or George Lucas, for example? Just as a random fucking example. Funnily enough, I was actually watching a stream earlier from someone I follow, Kaiju Fluffs. And the topic of the unfortunate new Animal Farm movie by Andy Serkis came up. And the topic was raised regarding just what type of story can we expect children to fully understand? Like, what subjects can we expect children to take in and fully digest from stories like Animal Farm? Perception always based on lived experiences. Absolutely it is scary. But yeah, no, it's... Oops, my apologies. But yes, as always, it's always encouraged that you subscribe if you have the ability, or just financial means. Good luck with ad hell. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate all of you for showing up regardless of whether or not you're subscribed or not. I mean, I have been attempting to buy a poster, Cochet. I mean, obviously I do need to wait until my funds get raised. I may have bought a monkey instead. I figured the workforce is more important. Establishing a strong workforce. But yes, and like, as an example of like how a dark story can be adapted for, you know, something anyone from any age demographic can understand, the topic of the, I want to say was it 30s or 50s that the original Animal Farm animation came out? I want to say 30s. 38, if I'm not mistaken. But basically, the original animation that came out, that was an adaptation of Animal Farm. There's some dark shit in there. Some very, very dark shit. But it was still presented in a way, even if they didn't show all the bloody, gory details, it was presented in a way kids could understand. And it really demonstrates a point that was raised by Kaiju Fluffs herself, that animation is a medium. It is not a genre. It is not something that has to be exclusively catered to children or otherwise demographics of people who can't handle serious topics. Like, the example I always turn to when it comes to animation being utilized to present mature topics is Perfect Blue. Perfect Blue is a horrifying, horrifying movie. It is scary as shit, but it is also exceptionally beautiful. And it does a phenomenal job conveying existential horror and just psychological horror, even. One of Satoshi Kon's best works, in my personal opinion. Yeah, it's... And that 30s animation is a perfect example of how, even if that particular adaptation was sort of catered somewhat to children, it's still faithful to the source material. As opposed to what we're getting with Andy Serkis's adaptation, which, I shit you not, cast Seth Rogen in the role of Napoleon. I wish I were joking. Yes, the very same, Augustus. Ah, my word. abyssal hole. Yeah, no, I very much sympathize with the I don't want to live on this planet anymore mentality. Especially given all that has been done to the world of art. I mean, honestly, the next logical step would be fucking Watership Down starring Mr. Beast. I mean, I joke, but it's inevitable that we're going to get something like that. Alright, so I think I'll add another... Oh, I can't just yet. It's a 3D animated series over... Oh, yeah. Oh, God. See, I still get fucked up every time I remember the... Well, I'm sure it's not the only one, but one of the 2D animated adaptations of Watership Down. And that shit scarred me. In the best way. Rabbit. Yeah, no, like, rabbits don't fuck around. They have all that loose, baggy skin for a reason. At least certain breeds. And it's to protect against, you know, fatal blows with the fights they get into. Baby Crochet didn't realize the rabbit movie was gonna be sad. Yeah. I mean, funnily enough, I had my own sort of inverse experience with The Lion King. Because Lion King came out in theaters, like the original 2D animated Lion King, to specify, and I hate that I have to specify that, when I was a child. But little babby me heard the roars coming from the movie theater and got so fucking scared that that movie was going to show lions mauling human beings and tearing them apart. And so I was so scared I refused to go in, and my mother had to take me home. So I never got to see Lion King in theaters. The only reason I recognize Shakespeare is because of To Be or Not to Be, that is the question. I mean, in your defense, Hamlet is one of the more recognized works, or recognizable works, rather, of Shakespeare. I used to be like that too. I used to assume the worst is going to happen. Yeah, see, again, you understand. You understand, Crochet. I still need... Damn. Fucking inflation. Feel bad for a baby Logician watching. It was the best and worst of times. Watching My Neighbor Totoro and watching Totoro... Oh, God, yeah. To be fair, Totoro is a scary-looking motherfucker. He doesn't exactly look like he's gonna give you a big old bear hug when you first see him. Especially when he starts smiling. But yes, it can, to bring the point back to where I was going before, it can be very, very, very disheartening to see works essentially appropriated and watered down to the effect that they're almost unrecognizable as the original. If he smiles, run from in life. As well you should, Augustus. Don't discriminate against his big toothy grin. Well, if his big toothy grin is going to be crushing me into a fine paste, then I think I might need to at least put some distance between Totoro and I. Also, in my defense, I walked into Princess Mononoke thinking it was kid-friendly. It was proven very wrong. Well, I mean, it is kid-friendly to Japanese kids, because they expose Japanese kids to some especially fucked up shit. I mean, standards and practices differ greatly between countries and all that. I understand. But all the same, it's just incredible what they can get away with showing Japanese kids compared to, like, what we show American kids. And there's two sides to that argument, I will say. On the one hand, yes, I feel as though kids should be at least educated about certain topics earlier on in life, just so that they can understand it and not be afraid to, approach adults about it when the discussions need to come up. Like, if you make certain topics like death or religion or sexuality or anything like that entirely taboo for much of someone's early life, then it's going to be difficult for them to actually come forward and discuss these topics with people they trust. On the other hand, when you take a look at some of the shit that people in Asian countries and European countries show their kids, as opposed to American kids, you have to stop and wonder, is this a tad too much, mayhaps? Hell, but Keith David was narrating the openings. I mean, to be fair, I will watch anything Keith David is getting involved. Well, most anything. I will draw the line somewhere. Like, Keith David is a marvelous, marvelous actor. These monkeys are so hard at work. Good job, guys. Keep it up. Absolutely. They should be applauded for their efforts. Funnily enough, I think I saw the other day a post on Blue Sky that was talking specifically about, I want to say it was Keith David and Ron Perlman? It was either Ron Perlman or Clancy Brown. And the post came up as like, I think it's like, this is the truth. Like, Keith David and Ron Perlman have been in some bad movies. They have never made those movies bad. Or something to that effect. And, like, here's the thing. Even if a movie still ends up shitty, it's only going to be made better by the presence of those particular actors, I feel. Then again, I am just heavily biased towards those actors and their respective filmographies, so take whatever I say with a heavy grain of salt. They're in some bad movies, but never bad for them. Yes, that's it. Thank you, Koshe. Like, honestly, I think... And they fill similar roles in a lot of the movies they participate in. For example, I liken Keith David's Spawn to Ron Perlman's Lich from Adventure Time. And this is just going to be like an inferior duplication of it, but I think one of my favorite Ron Perlman reads was something to the effect of, before there was time, before there was anything, there was nothing. And before there was nothing, there were monsters. Like, that shit stuck with me, man. Like, he didn't have to go that hard, but he fucking did. Like, likewise, one of my favorite monologues from, like, Keith David. Who made you God, little man? Not that gun, not that uniform, nothing. You want to scare people? That's fine. I need a scarecrow. You're gonna be my personal message board. I want everyone to see what happens when they come here uninvited. Like, every fucking time, whenever I hear, like, those monologues, fucking goosebumps, man. Ah, man. I mean, but it is sort of ironic, though, because, like, as much as I do enjoy Ron Perlman, I feel as though Ron Perlman has become, well, effectively, Ron Perlman is to Guillermo del Toro what Johnny Depp is to Tim Burton. He's just his buddy that he brings on for just one of his movies every now and then. Even if he might not necessarily be, like, the best suited for a role, he brings him in because he's his buddy and, like, you know, hey, come on, Johnny, come on, Ron, you know, earn your treat. Ah, yes. I do remember. Welcome to hell, motherfucker! I wish I could remember the name of that movie. I think it was something to the effect of Tales from the Hood, or something like that. I know it was an anthology movie, predominantly featuring, you know, like, black characters and, like, and I believe it was distinctly, like, written by, like, black writers, if I'm not mistaken. I shocking no one, I'm sure. I've never seen the movie itself, only a few Tales from the Hood, thank you. But, yeah, no, I mean, I know that that particular clip gained a lot of attraction when Dick Cheney passed. And you will not hear me complaining. Motherfucker with 21 R's now allowed. Yes, thank you, Gaucher. Ah, my word. My word. Not so much a movie watcher, embarrassingly. I really admire Clancy Brown's performance in Detroit Become Human. Oh yeah, no, I love Clancy Brown. Like, Clancy Brown is, like, a lot more present in a lot of the media we, like, grew up watching than we may know. Like, for example, not only was he / is he Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob, he was also Lex Luthor in the Superman the Animated Series cartoon, as well as in the Justice League animated series. Like, again, he is essentially, in much the same way that Mark Hamill will forever be the Joker, and Kevin Conroy will forever be Batman, Clancy Brown will forever be Lex Luthor for me. Clancy Brown's character was one of the best parts of DBH. Yeah, no, absolutely. Just get another there. And then we can get in one more monkey. There will be a point where these monkeys' beep peeps become unbearable once they have reached maximum efficiency. Yet more than likely, Carrie. I think genuinely it's because there was a storyline that didn't focus on making a flimsy race allegory, so the white people in the writer's room were more equipped to do good at it. Yeah, that's very much a fair point, Gaucher. Alright, so we have Max Monkey, Max Banana Plant, and Max Banana Poster. Writing their little hearts out. Ah, my word. I really do wish I could zoom in on this. Oh, well, oh, now it zooms in. Great. Fucking fantastic. Oh, come on. Now it's undone it. Do I have a scroll wheel? Oh. Admittedly, I did not think of that. I was not aware you could do that. Oh, whoa, hey, whoa, hey. Back Back fell beastie. Whoa! Jesus. Alright, I think that'll do. My word. These guys are getting a good workout. Can move my arms too. Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, let no one say that you can't get a good workout sitting down. Upper body strength matters, folks. Yeah, welcome to the monkey cast, I guess. My word. Always remember to yeah, no, I do my damnedest to help people remember that as often as I can. My word. Yeah, I think we'll more than likely probably just call it a stream at the hour mark, because I doubt many people want to just hear this repeated beeping and blooping, like, all the way to 100%. But again, if nothing else, this makes for a good medium through which to talk about other important topics. My word. But yeah, I mean, that, even down to, like, my own casting preferences for characters, that goes back to, like, individual interpretations of works of media, and, like, to whom works of fiction truly belong in the grand scheme of things. Like, I mean, obviously there's the factor of, like, copyright law and things like that, and, like, how a certain mouse on a certain steamboat has only just recently come into, like, public domain again. While certain interpretations of a certain stuffed bear only count as public domain if you don't feature him wearing a specifically red shirt. Theater is so awesome because depending on the cast, a story can be retold in so many ways. No, absolutely. You raise another valid point, Carrie, and that, like, the casting for stage plays can, in and of itself, make a world of difference when it comes to the interpretation of a story. For example, much to the chagrin of a good number of people, my initial introduction to Phantom of the Opera was through the 2004 film. That was the first time I had ever seen Phantom of the Opera in its entirety, and it kind of shaped my opinion for the longest time on how the Phantom should act and sound and just generally come across. You know, it's like when people cast a drag queen to play Audrey 2. Yeah, no, same thing. Like, for me, I was introduced to Audrey 2 during the, through the 86 film with Levi Stubbs from the Four Tops as Audrey 2. And that sort of shaped, in my mind, how Audrey 2 should act and sound. But I know for a fact that long before the 86 film came around, there was the stage play. And before the stage play, there was the 60s film, which was, well, I say this with all the love in my non-existent heart, dog shit. But, and even down to, like, another good example is Heathers. Like, there are pros and cons to both Heathers, the original film, and Heathers, the musical. Specifically for me, it comes down to the character of JD. Like, I have very, 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 very little sympathy for JD in the movie. but he's at least a bit more sympathetic in the stage play, in the musical. Heathers the musical is fantastic, don't get me wrong, but I prefer... No, that's absolutely valid as well. It's like, I love the music from Heathers the musical. I also feel as though the interactions and the connecting and breaking up between JD and Veronica, it's a lot more realistic in the movie. So I like the movie and the musical for different reasons. Much in the same way that, I mean, even within the same movie or same interpretation of a work of fiction, I can have preferences therein. For example, 2004's Godzilla Final Wars is admittedly not the most sterling example of Japanese cinema, but I still enjoy it. The weird thing is, though, I have preferences both between the original Japanese and the English dub when it comes to vocal performances. Like, I prefer the Japanese voice for the main bald alien in that movie, but for his, like, right-hand man with the glasses, like the sort of X-Men glasses, I prefer his English dub voice. And I always have to sort of stop and ask myself why when I find myself in situations like that, where even within, like, a single, like, work of fiction, I will have preferences between different versions of it. Heathers has some iconic visuals, but I can't stand it because Veronica pisses me off. That is also extremely valid, Koshe. Let me see here. I'm trying to think of another example of how interpretation... Ooh! Okay, another interesting interpretation. So, I'm sure most people here have heard of the classic novel Treasure Island, right? And I was familiar with the old live-action movie that they used to show on the Disney Channel. But the first time I ever saw the entirety of the story of Treasure Island was in Muppet Treasure Island. And then the next time I saw it all the way through was in Treasure Planet. And they're both very different interpretations of the story. And I love them both for very different reasons. Did a whole lesson on it when I was in school and saw a version with the Muppets and the actual thing. Yeah, no, exactly. Like, it's very funny to see all the creative choices that go into different adaptations of something. So long as people are trying to capture the spirit of the original. So even if something does, like, differ to a good extent from the source material, you can still capture the overall spirit and message of the original. For example, my favorite of all-time interpretation of the story of Pinocchio is Guillermo del Toro's stop-motion version, which actually takes place during the regime of Mussolini. The original story does not take place during that time period. It was written long before. And yet something about placing the story of Pinocchio during that particular period in time and readapting the mechanics of Pinocchio's, well, being, like, under the interpretation of Guillermo del Toro, has sort of recaptured my love of the story. In that same vein, my favorite telling of King Kong, which has been told over and over and over again for decades upon decades, was actually the MonsterVerse's take on it, where the story of King Kong takes place immediately upon the end of the Vietnam War. And just that contextual reference point, and how it serves as a motivator for the characters therein who are fresh out of war and now facing a new challenge in unfamiliar territory, it really enriches the story and makes it a lot less xenophobic and a lot less blatantly racist. I mean, that's the unfortunate thing about, like, King Kong as a whole, like, I love me a good kaiju film, and King Kong is objectively a kaiju film. It's a kaiju story in general. But it's hard to ignore the inherent racism of the source material. Same with movies like Creature from the Black Lagoon, which are just sort of inherently racist in their bare-bones skeletal structure. But that is the good thing about adaptations and interpretations. You can find ways to tell the base story of something by simply restructuring them in a way to where they aren't inherently problematic. Which does remind me, I still need to watch Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. Because I absolutely fell in love with the original novel in high school. And Guillermo del Toro is one of my, surprising no one, I'm sure, one of my favorite directors of all time. Like, I don't think I have ever seen a work of his that I disliked. It puts some fucking respect on King Kong's name. No, absolutely, I do love King Kong, but again, it would, far be it from me to ignore some of the problematic elements of the source material for King Kong, because there is some inherent racism in there that should be addressed. You know, if for no other reason than to acknowledge, that this was kind of a fucked up interpretation, but there's also still a quality story in there. My word. I might wait until we're up to like maybe 25% with the monkeys typing away. And then we can probably call it a stream there. So it's a shorter stream tonight, but I kind of expected it to be anyway. And again, if nothing else, these simulator streams have kind of always been more of a vehicle or a platform for larger, unrelated discussions. So, it is what it is, and I'm happy to use the excuse to discuss matters of great importance. My word. I remember even thinking the universe is full of possibilities. It's crazy. It is so crazy. It's really out there, man. Oh, that's right. I remember ages and ages ago. I even sort of thought of like certain characters from fiction that are inherently problematic and how to inherently how to make some like relatively minor but still effective tweaks to the characters to make them, actually palatable. And the example I came up with was Pepe Le Pew, the skunk from the Looney Tunes, which is all but been forgotten, and for good reason. Now, for the uninitiated, Pepe Le Pew is a skunk with a French accent, who has an unfortunate habit of being rather insistent with his advances towards femme-presenting characters, most notably in cases where a black cat will accidentally get a streak of white down her back because of a spilling of paint or something like that, and Pepe Le Pew will become rather insistent on essentially his advance. He's a sex pest. That's the long and short of it. He becomes a sex pest, and that has sort of become a key defining feature of Pepe Le Pew as a character. He is in fact a sex pest. And so the solution I thought of to make it so that Pepe Le Pew could still be like an entertaining character while not being a sex pest is to make him a himbo. Because, hear me out, the quote-unquote humor of Pepe Le Pew comes from the fact that he is a skunk. And as a skunk, he is not aware of how god-awful he smells. And that is the reason why, the cat always runs from him because he smells like a skunk. And yet, his interpretation always has him with this sort of French accent, which at the time, and I suppose to a certain extent even today, is often associated with romance or seduction. Pushed further by the fact that his voice was very much inspired by... oh god, now I have to look up the actor he was inspired by. Un momento. Charles Boyer. That's who it was. Charles Boyer, who is a famous French actor who, I believe among other things, played Napoleon Bonaparte in a film known as Napoleon and Juliet. Sorry, Napoleon and Josephine. My apologies. So yeah, no. Charles Boyer was this major French heartthrob around the time that Pepe Le Pew, the character, was conceived. And so, here's the thing. You can still have this heartthrobby French skunk character, but play into the fact that he is blissfully unaware of how bad he smells by making him a himbo. So he can still be an aspiring romantic, and he can still, but at the same time, have him chug his respect women juice. So that way, he can try his damnedest to be appealing, to, approach people that he finds attractive, while also not being a sex pest. And then it'll add a new angle to the conflict of the character, because even if the other party involved says, oh, this guy's actually really cute, and oh, he has a really nice accent, I want to be into him, they are now faced with the fact that he smells of hell. He smells like hell in a handbasket, but he's very polite and very chivalrous. And so then the conflict becomes, oh, I'd like to be with him, but he smells like absolute dog shit. And that could be where the humor comes from, rather than him being a sex pest. I feel like that one tweak to Pepe Le Pew would make it so people are a lot more comfortable including him in media. Just make him a himbo. And you can't even use the argument of oh, the character is already established, you can't make a change like that. Alright, motherfucker, then let's talk about Lola Bunny from the Looney Tunes show. Lola Bunny in the Looney Tunes show is a completely different fucking character than the Lola Bunny that was in the first Space Jam. Yeah, no, I'm glad we're on the same page, Carrie. They actually made Lola into a fucking character for the Looney Tunes show. And as another example of a character who some may interpret as problematic, but funnily enough is interpreted by a lot of people within Latino culture as a folk hero, Speedy Gonzalez. You know how they approached the issue of Speedy Gonzalez being a racist caricature? They gave him a fucking pizza restaurant. Not a Mexican restaurant. He owns a pizza restaurant. He is a dude who happens to be Latino, but takes advantage of his speed to put out fast and high quality pizza. That's actually kind of fucking genius. So just little tweaks like that, or even major overhauls of characterization, like with the case of Lola, can make a character a lot more fucking appealing. And I feel like all you would need to do with Pepe Le Pew is just make him a himbo instead of a sex pest, and he'd be on that same level as Speedy Gonzalez and Lola Bunny. Gabriel Iglesias posted about Speedy saying, cancel culture can't cancel or catch it. Jesus fucking Christ. Ah, my word. Gosh. Then again, the other part about that is that, For many of you who have joined me for semi-annual Christmas movie reactions with my friend Hunchun Bats, who was born and raised in Mexico, a lot of aspects of Mexican culture and how they interpret other cultures are inherently racist. And a lot of it comes down to something called novela culture, which is where a lot of Latino people with lighter skin are considered more conventionally attractive or appealing, because that's how a number of people and actors are portrayed in novelas or Hispanic drama series. That's colorism, baby. Yes, in fact. But yeah, no, just watch Hunchuen and my reaction to Santa Claus versus the Devil, which is an English-dubbed Mexican movie about, as the name suggests, Santa Claus going toes-to-toes with the devil. Or toes-to-toe with the devil, rather. I swear I can speak English. Apparently about on par with Hunchuen. Which reminds me, at some point this month, he and I will probably be doing another reaction to another shitty Christmas movie, so keep an eye out for his Twitch channel and YouTube channel for our streamed reaction to that. My fucking word.
Why you pulling me? I'm right.
Alright, that's first in a while we're getting an unpopular opinion redeemed. So let me actually break out the D20. Alright, and that is that's a 19. Okay. So, number 19 on the list of unpopular opinions is, people who use mouse and keyboard to play video games despite the 1980s having come and gone are simply gluttons for arthritic punishment, like carpal tunnel equivalent of bug chasers. I think it's entirely possible my hands were cramping up when I wrote that one down, because goddamn, that is, I mean, it wouldn't be one of my opinions if it weren't highly opinionated. But yeah, no, this is a big reason why I tend to play, I have a nice ergonomic mouse, and I'm glad that you're able to spare yourself the pain that goes with that, Carrie. I just prefer playing games with a console controller because it's easier for me. And, like, having to contort my hand into a weird fucking claw to play games on a mouse and keyboard just always makes my hands cramp up. Like, even when I was playing the Chaos from Above earlier, like, it was just making my muscles and my hands seize, and it was not a good time. Though I am glad that you've found ways to supersede that distinct type of discomfort. Did you guys tackle the magic? This is Rhapsody. That was actually the very first one we reacted to, as a matter of fact, Gaucher. The very first movie Gabe and I reacted to for those reactions was Rhapsody Street Kids. For the uninitiated, Rhapsody Street Kids was an attempt to make an animated Christmas movie featuring an all-star cast of voice actors, including Mark Hamill at one point. Unfortunately, through specific issues in the production process I cannot distinctly remember off the top of my head, it went to shit. It went to absolute fucking shit, and they ended up having to do just this horrendous CGI animation, despite the actual, like, voice casting being good. They animated it in a software that was made for storyboarding. Oh, that's what it was. Oh, God. My fucking word. Oh, we passed 25%. Alright. So, Here's what I will say. Before we call it a night, I think I am actually going to put on me and Gabe's reaction to Rhapsody Street Kids. Just to promote those videos. Let me see. I'm pretty sure that video's still up. Here we go. So. And it's only about 10 minutes, so we'll watch this and then we will call it a night. All right. So,
let us get this party started.
This is okay.
From the makers of What They Wish Was South Park.
Oh my goodness. This is so bad.
Okay, I will say the music is not half bad. It's just
True.
why the bike horn and why the comic sans? So, full disclosure, like, we did a test recording of this, like, up to, like, halfway through the credits, just to make sure that our recording equipment was working properly, and we had to... like, I think this is, like, maybe the second time I'd seen I'd seen the credits, but it only really registered for me in that moment that it was, in fact, Comic Sans. And so, I couldn't not address it. From Windows Movie Maker Studios.
Oh my god. Windows Movie Maker, I just got it!
Good job, bro.
Hey!
Believe. I love, like, it's just like, believe in Santa, that is an order. Yeah. Believe in Santa is the actual official name of the movie. The series is Rhapsody Street Kids. But the name of the movie is Believe in Santa, and because of the way it's phrased, it does very much sound like, you shall believe in Santa, I bequeath it. And it's just a weird fucking creative choice. Look at this JPEG just gradually fading.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not complete with that slide whistle. Oh my fucking god.
Oh.
Where's the fire? Oh, these CG models. Oh. Oh, I see. It's one of those holiday specials. You saw that, right? The tree fucking moved.
I don't know. I don't feel like a rap number is part of a Christmas musical, but
I mean, it can be if it's handled well enough. It's just... Oh. Now, I forget who the voice actor is for this gentleman here. I actually have to look it up real quick, because I do believe that this is, like, a well-known voice actor. So, if... Need to look up specifically. Oh yeah, that's Walter Jones. Who some of you might know as the original Black Ranger from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So, that's our lad here.
the way he walks, I can't get over how he walks. Oh my god. Like,
He looks like Sideshow Bob. A little bit. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong. The fucking animation! Oh, me as an animator right now, I am hurting.
Because we need to maintain this shot for this long.
Why is this so bad? What happened?
Kill your parents, Johnny. Okay. I read that very differently for a split second.
Oh.
In my defense, I forgot that this movie was called Rhapsody Street Kids. And when I saw this word, I read it as something very different. I'm sure you can piece 2 and 2 together.
Oh.
Let's just see what Ricky Rodmaster can do.
Now I have to check yet again to see who voices this character. Because I am relatively certain it is what I think it is. That character there, that delightful lad, that's Nancy Cartwright of Simpsons fame. Where did they get these voice actors? Once again, I will even correct myself here. The voice acting is not the issue. The voice direction is the issue. You can have amazing voice actors on a project, but still get a subpar performance because of just sheer fucking abhorrent voice direction. Like, the job of any voice director is to convey to steer the voice actor in the right direction. Like, whether it's conveying a very specific mood or just emotion, every voice actor needs help from a voice director. This is why even today, with, like, internet-based projects, there will still be, like, voice directing sessions held in, like, Discord calls. So that the actors you bring on for any given project will be geared towards the vision of the director. That's what I ended up doing for Seeds 2, for example. I had, like, live recording sessions with the voice actors and made sure that I got the deliveries I wanted. And then I picked my takes and I mixed them together and we got the finished product. So, yeah, you can still have amazing voice actors, but still have this because of shitty direction.
Fucking, this tree looks like fucking clip art.
Well, at least we have something clear now. This is clearly the origin story of Static Shock. I'm sorry. I have to highlight the walking animation here. Because this is like something out of the 3D Berserk anime. Oh, that's amazing. The origin story of Static Shock.
Oh my god, glitching. Pixels. What was it?
Let me know anytime you want to fall
I think
down
that was the
again.
model
I'll be glad to
breaking.
show
Said after recess because I need a recess.
Okay.
I need...
A recess. Well, now I need to double check who the teacher is. So, Serena C. Grant, who I don't think had any other voice roles apart from this. Oh, look, it's Sanson Papyrus Undertale. And just the line art of Santa Claus over on the other side. Well, I can't believe that kid's fucking dead.
Animation is my passion.
Oh my god. And once again, don't mind me just checking to see who was enlisted. Eddie Driscoll, who I don't think was brought on for anything except from Rhapsody Street Kids content. So, yeah.
That's because that's how you eat food.
Just put a Brazzers logo over that.
A sensor bar.
Okay, children, I wish you all.
I have so many questions and yet lack the words to properly articulate them. So I'll just have to stick with... What?! I love, by the way, that it's become an ongoing joke. That whenever I'm drawn drinking something with Hun Shuen or Gabe here, it has to be me drinking horchata. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love horchata. It's like one of my favorite drinks in the world.
Is that a piano? Oh no, it's
I believe it's a dumpster, Gabe, where this movie belongs. Oh my fucking god. They literally just found fucking clip art and stuck it in the movie. There was nothing else to it.
look, clip art. So we meet again.
Those supposed cardboard cutouts are the best looking things in this movie.
See, for the kids nowadays.
I will agree to the kids being nowadays, but other than that, please tell me this isn't going to turn into a musical number. Oh, did I neglect to mention this is a musical? Iconic moment from the movie I've been waiting for. Does it come later? Which moment is that, Carrie? Dare I ask? Also, I do believe this young woman is played by another... Oh yeah, no, grandma will come later. Speaking of, I do believe... Let me see. Oh yeah! So... fun fact, the young lady who is about to sing here, she is voiced by Paige O'Hara, who some of you might know as the modern voice of Belle from Beauty and the Beast. She did not always play this role, but has been playing the role, for quite some time. Oh yeah, no wait, she was always the role. Yeah, no, I just double checked. Yeah, she was the original Belle from Beauty and the Beast, Paige O'Hara. As for Grandma, Grandma is voiced by Deborah Wilson, who some of you may remember as Ursula from The Little Mermaid. At least in some iterations. I don't believe she was the original, but has been cast in some projects as Ursula. She was also Terra Snapdragon from the Owl House. So, once again, an S-tier voice cast. Just absolutely fucking abused.
Don't.
I would rather watch the entirety of Ratboy Genius than this movie. Okay, to be fair, there's actually a bit of depth to Ratboy Genius, even if it isn't, like, immediately apparent. Fun fact about the creator of Ratboy Genius, by the way, that man has a PhD in music theory.
I love how it's just like they just have this like 3 angles and they keep repeating over and over. Ugh, like there is an angle that like if you look at them at in 3 quarters, you can see how flat the face and the ears and the eyes are like popping out. It's what was that?
I think she was being possessed.
Okay, I think that the song has lasted a bit too long.
Yeah.
Stop!
Oh, see,
Why did they make this woman Boomhauer from King of the Hill?
And I don't know, Salt Nick man would run out there. I don't know if he, Chuck Mangione, gonna be come down here.
Sir, you are going to have to speak more slowly. I cannot understand you.
He has the exact same sandwich he had the other day.
You know, part of me wants to believe that sign they showed for a split second said texture missing, error. So, I talked to Cochet about this the other day. But there is an inherently hilarious quality to the magenta and black checkered pattern they use in Gmod for missing textures. And that is the fact that magenta doesn't exist. Magenta is not a real color. It's a space filler color that our brains invented, because magenta does not appear in the visible light spectrum. Yeah. No, that's a real thing, Carrie. Magenta as a color does not actually exist in nature. It is just something that was invented by our brains to fill in missing information. Like, go ahead, look it up. I will wait. It is essentially an optical illusion. So the fact that magenta is implemented in those missing texture patterns in Gmod is actually really fucking fitting. In fact, you know, I will even just let's see. Trying to look for an actual scientific... Well, actually, yeah, no, I should just look up a video. That'll make things easier. Are all colors not optical illusions, reflections of light? Well, essentially, like, the colors that we see, Carrie, are the result of different wavelengths of light being bounced off of objects. However, magenta is sort of different in the fact that it's a frequency of light, a wavelength of light that actually does not show up in the visible light spectrum, which is the range of colors that we as human beings can actually see. Each of our eyes has like 3 color cones through which all, you know, the wavelengths of visible light are interpreted. Red cones, blue cones, and green cones. Through none of those actual wavelengths does the color magenta show up. So it's something our brains kind of invented. So, even as just a brief summary of that.
The world is full of colors, some vibrant, some dull, and some that are all in our heads. In fact, you are looking at a color on your screen right now that, in a sense, doesn't exist. Unlike virtually all other colors, there is no wavelength of light to describe it, but we see it anyway. It's magenta. And it is nothing but a trick from your brain. Our eyes can see things because in the back of the eye there are millions of receptors called rods and cones. Rods are sensitive to light intensity and movement, while cones are the receptors that see color and fine detail. There are all kinds of cones out there in the animal kingdom, but humans have 3 types of them. One that detects long wavelengths, like red light, one that detects medium wavelengths, like green light, and one for short wavelengths, like blue light. When light enters the eye, it causes some of these cones to fire depending on what wavelength it is. So if you're looking at a red apple, your long wavelength cones might fire, or if you're looking at the sky, your short wavelength cones, or blue cones might. But as you might have learned or noticed, there are more than 3 colors in the world, so how do we get by with only 3 types of cones? Well, our eyes kind of cheat, because while each type of cone is most sensitive to a specific color, they actually respond to a range of wavelengths, and most importantly, those ranges overlap. So say you're looking at something yellow. On the visible spectrum, which is the range of wavelengths we've assigned colors to.
And notice I mentioned before, and what he's invoking right here, the visible spectrum of light. You don't see magenta in there, do you?
Yellow is between green and red. So if you have typical color vision, when you see a yellow object, your red cones fire a little and your green cones fire a little, but your blue cones have no stimulation. Your brain interprets that unique pattern and knows whatever you're staring at must be something in between red and green, so yellow. Something similar happens when you're looking at cyan. In that case, both your green and blue cones fire because cyan is in between green and blue. But what happens when you look at an object that makes only your red and blue cones fire? At first you might think you'd see green, since on the visible spectrum, that's the color in between red and blue. But remember, your green cones aren't firing. So what does your brain do? It makes up a color! And this is what we see as magenta. Unfortunately, it's hard to say exactly why our brains make up this specific color. Like, there's nothing that seems to be particularly special about magenta, but we see it anyway on everything from billboards to t-shirts, and that is really weird. I mean, pretty much all of the other colors we see have one specific wavelength we can use to describe them. But that's not true of magenta. The color is nowhere to be found on the visible spectrum. It's just the odd way our brains happen to respond when hit with red and blue light. This makes magenta what's called a non-spectral color, a color that can only be described by combining multiple non-adjacent wavelengths of light. It sounds bizarre, but our brains do this sort of thing all the time, processing the world in strange ways to help us make sense of all of the weirdness around us. And hey, if it gets us a nice color like magenta, it can't be all that bad.
So yeah, like, it's right there. Like, pretty much, as is the same function of the missing texture pattern in Gmod, the color magenta serves the same purpose for our brains. It is just a space filler to provide some sort of context for what can otherwise not be described. Because keep in mind, our eyes can only interpret so much because of the severely lacking number of cones in our eyes. More exists outside the world than what we individually can see. For example, the mantis shrimp has significantly more cones than any one human being, and thus they can see colors we cannot. Funnily enough, though, they do have difficulty seeing colors that we as human beings can see. So just, yeah, keep in mind, the world as we know it is pretty much just a product of our limited sensory organs. Chances are the actual reality of what's going on around us looks way fucking different than what our puny human brains and eyes are able to comprehend. Have fun thinking of that while you try to get to sleep tonight. Anyway. Like when you're playing Gmod. Hold the fuck on. Hold the fuck on. Did they have some guy make a door creaking sound effect into a mic? That's all, folks. Here's Smithy. Hi, random. Oh my fucking. Yes, beware of the killer polygonal wiener dog. Listen to those barks. That is not the bark. There, look. Meanwhile, in Detroit, and again, they used the Windows Paint spray tool to get the snow on there.
That's what I was thinking. It's like, oh my god, this reminds me of my early days in Paint. This is beautiful. See, I think this movie should have been like 3 minutes long.
And so does friendship.
Cinema. I guess that scene's done. This fucking shot here is always stuck with me. This is just the expression of someone who has given up. I need to double check to see who this fucking character is voiced by. God, let me see. Jodie Benson. AKA Ariel from The Little Mermaid. Again, all-star cast. Horrifically underutilized.
I don't know what I'm supposed to feel with this music and this.
Extra Christmas cheer.
Dead. We're supposed to feel dead, Gabe.
I believe in him.
Exactly.
Meteorology be damned. That was a miracle. That is one of my personal favorite quotes. Meteorology be damned. That was a miracle.
Will you try and help me understand?
Don't sing!
No surprises there. That's how I get most of my suits.
Wait a fucking second.
Merry Christmas.
No.
Merry
No,
Christmas
no. Okay,
to
for a
all.
split second, I thought they got Mark Hamill for this.
I don't.
Yes, it was in fact Mark Hamill. Again, all-star cast.
Please don't smile. Please don't.
Please don't wink. I don't want to think about copulation in this world.
I wasn't thinking until you said it, and I hate you.
Christmas.
That's a quote to last the ages. Christmas. I mean, Mark Hamill's been roped into all sorts of shit. Some of it he doesn't even fucking remember. For example, Mark Hamill has no memory of recording for Majima for the English dub of Yakuza 1. He has no actual memory of recording for that dub. And yet he is, in fact, the English voice of Majima in Yakuza 1. Ah, my fucking word. Wow, look at that JPEG.
Merry Christmas.
Did we stumble upon a cult in a gated community? I spoke over it, but the last line of the movie is Mark Hamill going, "Shut that door!" before it just mysteriously slams of its own volition.
I think we did. And no. Make it stop. Stop. Get out. I'm gonna have nightmares. Get the fuck out. Okay.
Kill it with fire!
Oh, thank God it's oh, don't wink at me, you stupid ass fucking. Oh. And Comic Sans is back.
Santa died for your sins.
This makes me think of those awful ass chain mails that your aunts would send you in the fucking 2000s.
Oh, God.
On the internet.
No,
I
2002?
My name's Jenna, and I'll be back with the Easter Bunny.
Oh, fuck that.
No, you don't. No, you won't.
Oh! No, this is the fucking cherry on top. Hello, hello, Alex. We are finishing things up for this stream tonight. I was just rewatching me and Gabe's reaction to Rhapsody Street Kids Believe in Santa. I mean, I will say that if any of you want to watch these reactions and more, you can head over to the Gale Rice channel and just watch the fucking just all of the shit. It's honestly just fantastic, every single one of those reactions.
What fucking language is that?
What the fuck kind of image is that to end a Christmas special on? Just a possessed demonic wolf. You do realize I'm going to have to fly down there and kill you now, right?
Who, me?
I'm packing my sword as we speak.
No. You don't. Oh shit! You do have a sword. You know what? I have a fucking chancla. So, like, bring it,
Oh,
motherfucker.
that trumps me.
Oh my god.
Okay, fair point. You've got me beat by a long shot.
But yeah, if I had to suffer, you suffer with me. You know what they say. So, yeah.
Believe in Santa and the power of casual bongos.
Fuck.
Alright, on that delightful note. So, it's been a bit of a weird stream, but not entirely unpleasant. Again, on the shorter side, I'm honestly kind of surprised we were able to stretch this thing out for as long as we did, but I do appreciate all of you dropping by for the inherent chaos of this stream. I mean, it was already in the fucking name, so I suppose it was always going to be that way from the very beginning, but I digress. Your presence here has been appreciated nonetheless. As always, I want to thank Koshé for assembling a number of these simulator games for me to try out. Many of them are on the shorter side of things, but I feel like that sort of adds to the charm, and even if some of them end up a bit lacking, I will always do my damnedest to support indie developers, because fuck me, running the AAA industry, quote-unquote, isn't doing us any favors at the moment, so we might as well shine a spotlight or two on indie devs where and when we can. I hope all of you continue to have a great weekend on the... Can you tell it's time for me to stop? Until the next time, always remember to fucking think. Take care, everyone.